Hi everyone, Chillax here and welcome back to another Anchor Panic video. Today we will be going over my updated beginner's guide for Anchor Panic Global version 2.0, in which we answer 7 of the top questions asked on either the Anchor Panic Discord server or my personal YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's begin. The number one question that a lot of new players ask is, who do I use my 7-day SR Selector on? And this is an excellent question because as a free-to-play player, this is the only time you will get an SSR Selector. And even if you are a low spender, there have only been 3 times in the past in which you had an easy $10 purchase of an SSR Selector. So these are quite valuable. Now, who do you use this ticket on? I would say that if you needed to use the ticket right away, I would highly recommend Echo or Turn. The reason is because both of these operators are future proof. They offer excellent offensive buffs, and in the case of Echo, she can turn off the energy burst of the opponent. Now, if you're a free-to-play player who made the wise decision of selecting for Alice in the beginner's banner, then I think Echo makes a logical choice for the selector, and that's what I did for my free-to-play JP server account, because this allows you to activate the lightning homology, which is this right here, in which typically when you are team building, it incentivizes you to use operators of the same element, because if you use 2 of the same element, you get an attack bonus for those elemental operators, and you enable the ability to apply a debuff that is unique to that element. For instance, lightning operators will apply shock, ice operators will apply freezing, physical will apply bleed, etc., etc. And if you only have one of that operator, this will be shaded out and you won't be able to apply the shock stack, which is very important for enhancing the damage output of your operators, as well as activating the 4-piece set of whatever elemental model set that you choose to equip onto your prized DPSs. And more on that later. But anyways, I would recommend Echo. But Turn is also very good because Turn applies a lot of offensive buffs, which is quite useful for any team. Now, if you have those 2 operators already, or if you plan to save this selector for a week or 2 in order to wait to see what the RNG gives you before you select the last good operator from the list, then I would say, Lane Jiao would be next in priority, followed by Lilira, followed by Newcastle, and then if you have all those operators, then other operators that you will use in the most important game mode, Entropy Cataclysm, would be Abyssal, Alice, and Flicker. So in a nutshell, the best operators that you should secure for your account if you want to do well in all game modes would be Flicker, Turn, Lang Jiao, Echo, Alice, Abyssal, Lilira, and Newcastle. Okay, so moving on to the second question, which is, where can I find a good tier list? And you are in the right place because I'm the one who makes the tier lists, the good ones. Okay, so this is, jokes aside, this is my updated PvP tier list for version 2.0. I just updated it 20 minutes ago if you want to take a screenshot and use it for your personal usage. Now, my camera is blocking this, but I do have a comment saying that this is based off of max dupes. So basically max ascensions for the operators, and in some cases max copies of the sigil. However, free-to-play players can use this tier list and it'll serve you just fine. The only operators that maybe won't be as high on this tier list without the ascensions would probably be Rose, who's the physical breaker on the very top middle with the rose on over her eye, as well as Mustang, the physical defender with the blue hair all the way on your right. But besides those two operators, all the other operators should fall in roughly the same place, even without ascensions or their signature sigil. So this is for PvP, where you are fighting in either arena or say like the PvP game mode Union Siege. Or not Union Siege, Land Clash, sorry. Now for PvE content, where you're trying to clear the main story or trying to get a high score in, say, Union Siege, or in this game mode Entropy Cataclysm, where you need to build 5 teams, then this is going to be the tier list you'll want to follow. That's of my personal creation, and you can take a screenshot of this as well for your personal use. There's slight differences because typically in PvE game modes, breakers, which is this class right here, tend to have higher value because in addition to doing decent damage, they also apply debuffs on the enemies, as well as reduce the tenacity gauge of the enemies, which is a basically additional shield that only PvE monsters have. In PvP, you won't have tenacity gauge, so that's why the PvE and PvP tier lists are different. Okay, so moving on to the third question which is very common: who is coming next? Which operator is coming next? And this, unless it's officially announced by the Discord server or Twitter, Facebook of the official Anchor Panic webpage, everything else is speculation. However, if you've been following my guides, you will know that we have currently 13 unreleased Chinese server operators that have yet to release on the global side. And this is an infographic containing 9 out of the 13 operators we're missing. And the Japanese server has been following the Chinese server release schedule pretty much almost exactly ever since Yunjuan, who is the limited time physical defender in the top middle, the one on the broomstick. And for this reason, I think eventually the global server will follow the Japanese server and Chinese server timelines. So as time goes on, we will be able to better predict the release schedule of the global server operators. But we will not know 100% until a week before the official release of that operator. Just FYI. Yes. And the other question would be, who do I summon for? So this is a fantastic question. I would say the best answer to that question depends on whether you are a free-to-play, low spender, or whale. If you are a free-to-play player, I would say that you should only summon on the banners that say limited on it. So this is an example, limited. Here is another example, limited. The reason why is because non-limited operators like Tia, when their banner leaves, they will be added to the rate-up pool of operators that you can lose the pity to. Notice how in this pity pool, we'll say, you cannot fail the pity to any of the limited time operators, and currently on the global server, 3 limited time operators have been released so far. One of them is Abyss Elysia, one of them is Frost Knight Dawn, and the third one, which we will get a rerun for in the near future, is Frost Jade, and this is Frost Jade right here. So with the exception of these 3 limited time rate up heroes, all the other heroes you can fail the pity to, which means you shouldn't have FOMO on those operators. And for a free-to-play player, if we were to do the math, you can secure every other operator, assuming that you have average summon luck. And so for this reason, it makes a lot of sense that free-to-play players should only summon on limited time operators, which should release every other operator or every other update on average. So that would be the answer for free-to-play players. And then for low spenders or whales, then you pretty much would follow my guides in order to know which operator you should summon on. And I'll give you like a straight answer at the start of the video. Okay, so the fourth question is, how do I build my operators, and what do these stats mean? So I'll answer I'll answer that in multiple ways. First of all, when it comes to models 1, 2, and 3, these 3 positions never change. They always provide attack, HP, and defense respectively. Now when you get to model set number 4, you can either get speed or HP, and typically speed is the stat line that you're looking for, and that will be the stat line that 99% of players will look for their operators. Even for defenders, which are traditionally tanks in this game, I usually recommend speed, because if your tank is too slow, they won't be able to apply shields onto your operators until your operators are dead. So I still recommend making your tanks pretty quick. And then for DPSs, as a rule of thumb, I typically recommend crit rate for model set number 5 and crit damage for model set number 6. Now, in terms of the different stat lines you can get, crit rate is the prized DPS stat line for model 5, and crit damage is the prized stat line for number 6. However, for number 5, you can also get base attack percent as well as HP percent, and those stat lines will be useful for supports that scale either off of attack or off of HP. And you'll need to read the operator's kit to know what stat line they scale off of. And then for the model set the model number 6, it can either be crit damage, which is what you want for DPSs, or it could be HP, defense, or attack. Now, some players, they ask, can I build a DPS with base attack and attack? In my opinion, the answer is no, although there are some gurus who say maybe for very specific operators. But if you don't know, then I would say the very safe play is crit rate, crit damage, and just call it a day. And then for model sets, typically you go for 4-piece of the most useful model set, followed by the second most useful off piece. So for DPSs like breakers and strikers, you're going to go for a piece of whatever element they are. And if you don't know what element they are, it will be on their character page on the top right. And there's 6 different elements, as you can see here, and there's 6 different classes, as you can see here. Okay. If you have a question regarding how to build a specific operator, you can check my previous guides. Whenever a new operator releases, I always have a section that you can jump to the timestamp of that specifically talks about what stats and what model sets to go for. So that's pretty much in a nutshell, and there are other things to take into account, such as empowers, which is later on, where you click cultivate, you click enhance, you click empower, and then you use these resources right here in order to generate 3 random stats. This can only be done for SSR sigils. If you were to scroll down to say like an SR sigil and try to empower, you cannot, as you can see here. So this is the reason why, generally speaking, I tell people not to level up the purple sigils if you can help it. Although I completely understand that a free-to-play player will have to level up some of these SR sigils. If you are a free-to-play player who needs to level up these sigils, personally, I think the best ones are this sigil right here for the defenders, this sigil right here for the healers, let's see, this sigil right here for DPSs. Yes, I would recommend these sigils for the most part. But as a rule of thumb, try not to level these sigils past level 40 unless you've max leveled your operator sigil, your skills, and your model sets, because like I said, you cannot empower these sigils, SR sigils, and so you are wasting a lot of resources long term if you keep leveling up these. Okay, so next let's talk about stamina. So someone asked me earlier today, what is the best use of this Erosion res stamina for a new player? Now, first of all, how do you even get these? So you get this just passively. Over time, as you can see by this timer, you'll gain a little bit, and then also during the second half of the day before the daily reset, you can get up to 240 more stamina, and I recommend you do not miss these because this is the best free source of stamina in my opinion. And then you can also get them by completing quests and clearing stages in order to get these purified tinctures. I think those are the most common ways to get them. And then you can also spend some crystal ashes for these. I think you should not do this unless there is a specific quest line in this section that asks you to do it once or twice. That's the only time when I would recommend a free-to-play player do that. And then once you have the stamina... Oh, and by the way, you get these sometimes in the mail for free. Okay, so what do you spend this on? I would recommend, first of all, to push the normal main story as far as possible, and then also push the event stages as far as possible. And once you get stuck and cannot push anymore, then I would say that usually it is because you need to build your operators a bit more. So as an example, if ways to build your operators is by either leveling them up or by leveling up their skills. And these are the two stats that I recommend farming for with your Erosion res next if you are a brand new player. So you would go to resources, you go here, and you would either clear the exercise mode or the skill train. Now, it goes without saying that as a new player, you'll probably notice that in order to unlock the latest difficulty, you need to unlock the previous difficulty. So I think it is good practice to, as a new player during the first week, clear each difficulty once in order to unlock the next difficulties, as well as to obtain free extra rewards for your first time clear. This is pretty standard across all gachas. Okay, and then if you are done farming exercise, done farming skill train, then I would say farming model sets makes a lot of sense. Make sure you toggle between the model set combinations that you want, kind of lock it in. So for instance, if I wanted to farm more of the Raging Wave, then I will click this and click select, and that changes that on the bottom left. And then you would farm the model sets. Now, when you first start the game, you won't have access to the orange models yet. I'm sure that veteran gacha players will want to know when is it safe to dump all your stamina and invest heavily into the models, and that's when you reach the gold rarity, which I think you can reach around day 4 of the game. So when you reach far enough into the main story and unlock the orange model sets, this is going to be the place where you grind model sets until you assemble the model set combinations that you want. Plus, you will get extra materials for leveling up your models. And then if you have a prized sigil that you need to level up, then you're going to use your stamina on the sigil train as well as the sigil ascensions to limit break from level 20 to 30, 40 to 60, as an example. And then, of course, whenever you're trying to limit break your operators to get from to go beyond level 20, 40, or 60, then you'll need to farm these promotion badges for that specific element. Yeah, so those are going to be the best ways to spend your erosion res, basically in that order that I just stated. Okay, so the next question is, how do I clear a stage that I'm stuck on? Some people on my channel as well as on Discord ask for specific stage help, and this varies from player to player. Every player seems to get stuck on a different EX stage. So the quick answer to your question, let's say you are on this stage and you're trying to clear the EX10 of this stage, whatever, say the boss is giving you a lot of trouble, then I would say that the first thing you want to do is just make sure that your operators are as close to level 80 as possible. If they are level 70 or below, or 75 or below, I would say bring your operators to level 75 first, and then make sure your skills are level 7 or higher, that you have a level 40 or higher sigil, along with a full set of 6 models with level 30 on all of them. And then if you're still stuck, then I would recommend jumping to the Anchor Panic Discord server to send screenshots in the help section of the operators that you're using, as well as whatever operators you own. So you can send a screenshot of your formation, which will tell us what team you're using on that specific stage, and then you would send a screenshot of the models that you own. That way players like myself or Raikiri or Franco or Gear, or a lot of us veteran players or Kwa Sensei who are on the Discord channel, we can give you help right away. Okay, and then the final question that new players ask is, how do I farm gems? And they're specifically asking about how to farm these crystal ashes. And while there is not a single stage where you can farm these, I would say that if you are trying to get more summons, which requires crystal ashes, the best way to do it is by completing all the quests that are in this section, clear your missions, push your story, normal, special, and assault, push all of these challenge modes to the max. What else? Do the event. Someone, by the way, was asking how to spend this resource. It was pretty wild. Just so you know, every event, basically every version update, will have an event section that will have a picture of the most recent operator. And for new players, I would recommend paying close attention to the main story, which is here, as well as the event page, which is here, because whenever there's a new update, the store refreshes and the stages change. So if you haven't fully cleared the stages, haven't fully completed the mini stages, you are missing out on rewards that you can't get again. So make sure you're paying close attention to how much of these you are using. Make sure you spend all of them and buy out the shop before the update ends. I know some players who forgot to spend this and they missed out on some valuable rewards like raid up tickets and resources that typically, to get a lot of them, you would need to either rank high or spend money. So make sure you do that. And then achievements is another way to get crystals. This is something that not a whole lot of people pay attention to, but it is something that I personally do. And then if you are a long-time player, if you have been playing this game for over 6 months like I have, then when you go to the base, another thing you can do is by going to the production line, clicking here, and basically building crystal ashes while you sleep. Now this does require some Taino, which is not an issue to obtain once you've played long enough. As you can see, like most of my operators are built at the moment, so I have a stockpile of Taino. Now as a new player, you're constantly going to run out of Taino for probably the first 3 months at least. But once you have enough Taino reserved, then you can spend some of it towards accelerating your crystal ashes generation. And I calculated that you can get about 2 summons worth of crystal ashes every 3 days if you are logging in twice a day and making sure to, access the base. So anyways, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. I hope you found it informative. If there's anything that I overlooked, or if you're a new player with more questions, please leave your question in the comment section below. I'm always answering players' comments. I reply to everyone. So you can do it that way. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.